Hello, friends. Best greetings from Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine. My name is Viktor Fursov. I'm a research entomologist, beekeeper, and teacher, and you are visiting my channel on YouTube. Welcome. Welcome to my channel to watch different videos about entomology, science about insects. And today's translation is devoted to insects which are living in different countries, about their conditions of their life and the conditions of life people in these countries and the situation. What country is the best for insects? This is the question. Probably how Hamlet in Shakespeare novels asked, to be or not to be? What's about insect or insects? Do they survive in this global world of challenges, world of wars, world of conflicts, and world of destruction, where no conservation for nature or very little still conservation in different countries? And what country is better for conservation of insects? What country is better for studying insects? And how we can determine it, how we can identify it? What country is better for research of insects? And of course, insects were connected with global economy, were connected with human beings, with their activities. We can say, what is the place the best for people to live? This is a question. What is the best place to live for insects? This is a question. First of all, we could say the best place from human point of view. This is the place where there is a law. There is a acting law of government, acting law between peoples. So this law will be distributed for all activities of humans, including activities of humans directed to their economical activities in agriculture, in forestry, in all types of activities. Because it's connected with insects as well, because insects were spread all around the human beings, all around their houses, around the agricultural places in forestry. And we are interconnected with them. If there is a law in the country, so there is an opportunity and possibility for human beings to live and not to suffer, and for insects and animals not to survive, but to live prosperously and spread in the nature. So, if you can take the map, I have the map. Very old one from 1960s. Many countries appeared, many countries changed, but still nature is disappearing in many countries. Very difficult to say about nature without humans, because humans, they're everywhere now, everywhere, even in some distant areas where they have not been for ages, for 100 years. Now they're there. They're not only some cannibals somewhere in Papua New Guinea, but there are some businessmen who are making business in Papua New Guinea. And insects and animals suffering very much, even in these distant areas. And the same about tropical areas in South America, in some distant areas where aborigines of South America are still living, but they're already suffering because human beings are coming and business activities of different forestry companies, global companies are coming, which are coming for forests, for natural resources, for gas, oil, everything from the nature. And insects were just disappearing by dozens, by hundreds, every day. 1, 2, 3, 10 species of insects and other animals disappearing. Of course, there are some countries which are highly involved in the study of insects, in outreach of different human activities, where you can go to a shop and buy very nice books for education. where you can see some butterflies with some descriptions. So you don't need to catch butterflies. You can study them initially in winter time, like on this British Michael Busy Pocket Guide of Butterflies. Yeah, to be careful about insects, to study where they are living, what larvae, where larvae are feeding on, where you can find them, what about their biology. And it's really nice. Or you can go to Dutch shop to buy the same guide, but in Dutch language, for instance. Again, with photographs and nice drawings of butterflies. And it's a great step for conservation of nature. Great step for conservation of butterflies, beetles, dragonflies, different catytids, different grasshoppers, all insects around us, even for conservation of cockroaches. We will see today cockroaches, good one as well. Or you can go to a Slovakian shop and get nice photos of insects with some descriptions. So these outreach activities are very important for conservation of insects and other animals, because here just young generation, pupils of colleges, even from kindergarten, young boys and girls can study insects from the book initially, and then can go to the nature, take some photos on iNaturalist and upload them, even for this Apollo, which has disappeared in many areas, but still in a book. But you can take a photo and upload it on internet to Facebook, to Instagram, to TikTok, to YouTube channel, like we are just translating now. Not for TikTok, but for YouTube channel. Some people are suggesting, new suggestions coming, that South American Costa Rica region is the best region for conservation of insects and for the life of insects. Well, good idea. And I agree with this suggestion as well. Let's start to show some slides and discuss it. For instance, we cannot avoid collections of insects. Some insects have been collected for ages, for hundreds of years, and were stored in museums like these lovely stick insects in Japanese museum, by the way. They have a very big size, they're very funny, very unusual, very surprising. And when you can see them in the nature, you will be very surprised. But some of them were in the culture. They're like pets in cultures of different home owners. So you can buy, like in a zoo shop, them for study, for keeping them. And this is a part wait a minute. This is a part of pictures from Ishikawa Insect Museum. Why I started from Japan? Because in Japan, all insects are valued. This is in nature of Japanese culture. To take care about people, to take care about nature, to take care about insects as well. So some people are breeding insects in the culture like this, stag beetles. So you can find these lovely stag beetles in zoo shops, and to keep them in hands, this is a beautiful situation. This is a dream for many young children, so they can buy either living specimen or just model of insects. And it's also very funny because at least model plastic bag can live for longer time rather than very fragile beetle. So, right, arena beetles, stag beetles. This is the Japanese arena beetle, and these are larvae of them. And this is great Hercules beetle with a huge horn on the top. So you say this is a stick beetles. Oh, in Japan, there's so many different cicadas, so many, not only arbor zemi, but different type of zemi, different type of leaf hoppers, especially of big size. And they are widely distributed in Southeast Asia, and in Southeast Asia, many species of them. And these are stag beetles with different horns and different mandibles and with pretty big size. And they're in a museum for the study, for education, for exposition, for conservation of these specimens, which can be used for identification species and, of course, for education. All these beetles, these are lovely beetles from South America. They're under protection now, but they have been collected dozens of years ago, so they're now in museum for exposition. All these morpho beetles, morpho butterflies, you saw so shiny, blue-colored butterflies. They're not so colored when with closed wings, but if they closed wings, they're just making mimicry with leaves. Otherwise, they're just attraction between different species and between different sexes. So that's why they're shiny, and to attract one species to another, one specimen, female attracting male. And for another males, they're just showing that this is their territory. So territorial activities. So morpho butterflies are really beautiful in South America. But the nature places, natural environment is under the danger, great danger. Oh, yes, these are mantids on the left side, praying mantis, and huge size Asian hornets, which are widely distributed in Southeast Asia, in Japan as well. So they have important role as predators, because they're predators of different pests and different caterpillars, beetles, grasshoppers in the nature. But of course, if I live in somewhere near the farms, near the houses, they may have some danger for activities of humans. And of course, when they are coming to another areas as invasive species, they're becoming very dangerous invasive species like Asian hornet, small Asian hornet, Vespa velutina came to Europe, or just some records of Vespa mandarina in North America, in United States, have been recorded during the last years. So invasion of invasive species is a very dangerous situation in the nature, because they can be spread in new areas and make a huge damage for human activities. Well, and now we can enjoy these insects in hands. Japanese like very much stag beetles, to observe them in the nature, to search for them in the evening time somewhere in the forest. This is kind of a hobby for many young people and also pretty old people, for hobbyists, for hobby entomologists, not for only for professionals. There are many hobbies, many people who like to make collections of stag beetles and to make some competition between hobbyists. How big is this insect? How big is beetle? What about their mandibles? The bigger is more valuable, the bigger costly, or price of beetles can be very high as well. And this is an excursion, travel to local forest or even to special forestry area in evening time to search for female, small one, or big one, the male or stag beetle. Maybe not only for collection, but also for fun, for entertainment, and for taking photographs. But in some countries also you can buy some insects in a zoo shop, like these silk moths. It's possible in Japan or in other countries as well to have cultures of insects, cultures of caterpillars, and to receive some big butterflies and moths. Like if you keep here the culture of these silk moths, which have been bought from commercial company in Japan, it's possible to breed them and to receive beautiful silk moths, like this very funny silk moth. These are pictures from some Japanese sites, and I really appreciate a great job to show some activities in entomology, in entomological study, and entomological collecting, and entomological observations of insects. Japanese young boys and researchers, very observative, very careful, very interested to take some photographs, to take some videos, and to publish results for scientists in scientific journals. No small observation will be missed. Some observations, some scientific papers also published in probably more than 10 entomological journals in Japan. So these are silk moths on their cocoons. And in many cases, to understand the importance of entomology and the importance of nature conservation. For that, entomologists and zoologists were taking some expeditions, some travels to distant areas from home. We go to some places with a forest, with desert, with some mountains, lakes, rivers, grasslands, to study insects, not only in the urban areas, somewhere in a botanical garden, in a natural park, in a city, but to visit unique places, to visit unique natural environments, in some cases untouched, and where these untouched areas with natural environment, in many cases, were still conserved in some distant countries, which are really like a paradise for insects, paradise for human beings, paradise for citizens of this country, if they do appreciate it. Or usually people are taking it for granted and thinking they're citizens of this country, and they are, and it should be like that. We don't think about another country like some distant countries. I'm translating this video from Ukraine. Ukraine is located in Europe. Ukraine is in a hard situation now. Don't forget, if you are in a distant country which is far away from Ukraine, Ukraine is fighting for freedom. Ukraine is fighting for democracy, and Ukraine fighting against evil. Support Ukraine. Support. Yes, stand with Ukraine. And Ukrainian scientists can visit some other distant areas, some other countries and museums for investigations of insects, for study entomology. Yes, some people are taking attention to us as a visitors and writing some questions about Vespa mandarina. Yes, in some cases, Vespa mandarina, giant Asian hornets trying to spread in some distant areas from their natural environment, like in the United States. It's suggested that by authorities in America that population of Vespa mandarina have been eradicated during the last couple of years. But in other pests, in other invasive species, Vespa velutina also have been recorded in the state of Georgia, in the United States. So some unpleasant global trade is spreading not only goods, not only different food, weapons, drugs, but also some invasive, dangerous pests like dangerous insects. So because species of insects, if they're coming from distant area to another distant area where they have no natural control enemies, where they are not controlled by enemies like insects, like animals, so they can be multiplicated very quickly. So like Africanized race of honeybees have been spread. Their population have been spread in South America and spread and moved from South America to the North America, through Mexico to even to the states of Texas and North. So that's another species of Asian insects. If I come into another areas uncontrolled, without quarantine, or with just occasionally, we don't know why they are coming. We can suggest they are coming because of uncontrolled trade, but difficult to say. Probably like that. We need to control them, and we can find paradise in new areas. Yes, but what's about expedition? What about the best country for insects? Where you are watching this road for paradise of insects, and paradise is located in tropical area and semi-tropical area, where scientists, entomologists suggesting that the biodiversity of insects and animals is higher rather in comparison with another temperate regions, because of natural conditions, natural weather and environment, and the biodiversity of plants higher in tropical areas and semi-tropical areas. Humidity is higher, so conditions is much better for insects, so the biodiversity is higher. And let's watch this study using different traps, like some entomologists using light traps, like small one or big one. So you can see light trap is lightning and insects are coming. And to study insects, you don't need to kill them. You can come with photo camera, with video camera, to make observations, to take photographs, to take videos, and to observe this biodiversity. And these insects have been taken on camera in where it was, in Australia. Australia is really paradise for insects. Some beetles, some rhinoceros beetles, this is a female of rhino beetle, are coming because of light. And it's a great pleasure to take photo of beetle sitting on hand. And this is a female without horn. Oh, right, and another very funny scarabid beetles. And they're shining. They're yellowish and they're greenish. They're yellowish like a gold beetles, the whole scarab beetles. And they're really like golden. They're not golden. They're covers, heating covers, has a special coloration like gold, shining golden coloration. They're really beautiful. Sorry, I cannot show it on telephone, but I show it on computer. So after this translation, you can watch second version with photographs with presentation on my webpage of YouTube, because I'm doing two translation, one through telephone for better translation for one part of audience, and through computer for another part of audience with original photographs and different pictures and also video. All right, again, so beautiful. Golden beetles, scarab beetles. Yes, they're larvae are living underground, eating some roots, eating some plants, maybe sometimes under the bark of trees, and they're becoming so beautiful adults. Oh, another golden beetle, but little bit greenish, green beetle. All right, and then this coming rhino beetle, also Australian species, so beautiful one. Let's watch this beetle close, on a close distance. Yes, horns are so beautiful. Horns can be absolutely different for different species, and beetle is not very small, pretty big one. And what about tropical species of bugs? Some bugs are flying very quickly. This giant bug, the size about I guess about up to 10 centimeters. 10 centimeters, I guess so. Because this is a giant bug, which is living in Southeast Asia, in Thailand and Malaysia, in Indonesia, and also this several species of these aquatic bugs living also in Australia. And this bug was coming just not on hand, not on foot, but flying. All right, it was about some grasshoppers, and this funny grasshopper with so long nose. This is a acrid, an acrid, not very small one, not green, but gray color, and size is really pretty big, like a finger, size of finger. And what's about grasshoppers and crickets? Some crickets, like this white-kneed cricket, quite a big size. And of course, voracious, because this is a predator, has a very strong mandibles trying to bite entomologist. So you need to be patient to take a photo to escape from this biting. Or another type of a grasshoppers, and also catitid, spotted catitid. In tropical areas, in semi-tropical areas, catitids, they're growing very fast, very big. Their size is quite big. So they're very colorful. They have a lot of adaptations of mimicry to be adapted to escape from predators. So they're pretty invisible. They're like dry leaves, like pieces of bark. So they're adapted to be invisible in a jungle of forest. Or this one, green like a leaf, and not very small, quite a big one, and producing also very lovely sounds. And some of these close species of catitid, like this small hooded catitid, they're also stored in some zoo shops, in some cultures for conservation. I'm not quite sure with same species or close species, but catitids I consider to be as very interesting species for cultivation in a culture. And this is another species of acrid, is again with a very special adaptation, with very interesting shape of a head, so like a sharpened, like a horn on the head. And this is a female with ovipositor. This is the same white-knotted cricket, but on the ground, so you can recognize legs with very distinct white spots on knees, just between femora and tibia. And of course, in tropical, semi-tropical area, you can find not the stick, like this stick in hand, but stick insects, and they're very funny. They're very unusual and quite large in size. Like you can see here, you can think this is a snake, this is a lizard. No, this is not a lizard. This is a huge size, more than 20 centimeters stick insect of a gray color, again with adaptation, with mimicry, looks like a stick, it's gray colored, and also pretty invisible when sitting without movements somewhere on a stem of plants, somewhere on a bark of trees. A lot of leafhoppers are living in the tropical areas. Their biodiversity is very high, and they're singing different sounds. So they're very famous in Japan for sure, and in Southeast Asia there are a lot of different species with different transparent green, gray, yellow colored, with different shape of body. Shape of body more or less the same, but coloration is different. Sound is different. Even if the sounds is determining their names. Like in Japan, the one species the most common, aburazemi, in translation from Japanese, as I know, this is a boiling oil. Or in others names, like a mimizemi, it sounds like this sound, mimizemi. So a lot of different species of leafhoppers are living in Southeast Asia, in tropical, semi-tropical areas. And of course, if you switch on light, small light trap or big light in tropical area, a lot of night moths like this one, like this Saturniidae, silk moths, are coming to the light. In Australia, these entomologists were trying to look for some not only grasshoppers, but for some cockroaches, not for American cockroaches, but for Australian hissing cockroaches, which are digging, living underground. So that's why they're pretty strong. They are making nests underground, and it was quite hard to find them, to dig them, put them in a box, and to keep them in hands, because they're very movable. They're moving very fast. They're trying to escape, but they're used like a pets, and really very funny, and living without wings underground, hiding like rodents in their hidden nests underground. And of course, in tropical areas, there are a lot of different praying mantises. Most famous were flower mantises, but this one has an adaptation to be invisible, to be gray like a stick. Very similar shape, a similar adaptation to be like a stick insect, gray colored, like a dry plant, like a dry stem, and invisible for victims to make good and successful, not fishing, but preying for insects, hunting for insects. So let's visit Ishigaki. In Ishigaki, entomologists collected some interesting grasshoppers, like this one, quite a big one. So tropical area are very famous with large insects. Again, lovely stick insect. So soft, so big, so lazy, crawling very not so quickly, because this is the adaptation of stick insects, to be invisible, to survive without activities. If you are moving too fast, maybe predator will understand that this is food. If you are not moving, if you are just movable, so maybe predator will decide that this is just a stick and not the food. Oh, lovely stick insect of a gray color, not gray color, but green colored. And you can watch carefully about their structure. Flattened structure with so prolonged antennae, so long, very long legs, pretty short wings, and size. You can recognize so beautiful size, so lovely, and it looks like a piece of food for some animals. Really, that's why they're so greenish. So they're greenish like a bright green leaves, and they're becoming invisible in the jungle. Even just in contrast with these flowers, they're still looking like a piece of plant, despite we know that this is a phasmid stick insect. Oh, so greenish. So lovely adaptation. And it looks like some kind of green plant. And this is another funny order, the order of cockroaches. Blattoptera. As people say, in tropical areas and in some areas of Japan, grasshoppers are so big. Yes, some ordinary people are very surprised by cockroaches in Japan. They're big, they're strange. For entomologists, the biodiversity of cockroaches in tropical areas, this is enjoyment. You can recognize. First species in Australia was without wings, and this species with wings and quite a big size, probably very active, not like stick insect, which is moveless. This one is very active, moving very fast and flying very quickly. And what's about crickets? Lovely crickets. Some crickets are predators, with these strong mandibles. For instance, this species of cricket, Prosopoda, Prosopon, very long Latin name. And very interesting yellow spot on a head, like a shining spot. This is not a Photoshop. This is a real shining spot on the head with open mandibles and adaptation to survive, to surprise the predator, to surprise if you found it. So this species is not trying to escape, but trying to surprise you. But this species is angry and dangerous. So the species open wings, first and second pair of wings, put legs in different sizes and making probably a little bit noise by wings. So you can be very surprised and probably put it away. The same, some animals, maybe some lizards or small birds will do the same, will be very surprised by this activity of this lovely cricket. You see, this is natural activity when this cricket just on the palm of entomologist. Of course, a lot of different beautiful butterflies in tropical areas. And when you're taking photographs, you don't need to kill them. You can be very careful about butterflies and other insects to keep them carefully between fingers. So that's why you can take a photo just from the down part of insect to enjoy this Rhaphium genus, this nymph Papilionides butterfly, and release it. This is a common species in tropical areas of Japan and in semi-tropical areas as well. You can take a photo and release it. What about dragonflies? Dragonflies are very famous in Japan. Tombow dragonflies are very famous. And also you don't need to kill it. You can keep it in between fingers carefully to take photo and release it. And you see in some areas, like in Ishikaku, so beautiful. Rheochemis genus is distributed with beautiful spots on the wings. Some tropical butterflies are big. Some tropical dragonflies are also quite big, even giant, and especially they're spotted. This is also a case of a mimicry, adaptation to be invisible. This like a spots of a darkness, like a shadow between transparent wings. So there looks like pieces of leaves somewhere near the water. So, and dragonflies becoming invisible for predators. And some small butterfly, not this is quite a big butterfly, dragonfly, also quite a very, very nice. And this one small, also with spotted wings. Some tropical damselflies, they have a very narrow shape of body and size is pretty large, even up to more than 5 centimeters for this very narrow body. And let's visit some places, not in Southeast Asia, but in some South America. In South America, so this is Brazil, Ecuador, Peru, and other places, Venezuela, some Guyana. And what insects we can find there? Really unique insects. Yeah, I showed already. Dynastes beetles. So these photos have been taken in Ecuador, where entomologists were studying insects with light traps some years ago, using different permissions for study, for taking photographs, for taking this light, collecting light study, and observations, and taking some photographs as well. So you see, when you switch on light in tropical area, in semi-tropical area, especially in South America, a lot of insects are coming. A lot of insects, a lot of butterflies, all orders, not only butterflies, not only beetles, not only grasshoppers, different orders of insects are coming. And here, if you carefully look for this photo, which have been taken, these photos have been taken in a dark time at night, so you see big beetle on hand of entomologist, big Hercules beetle with huge horn sitting on hand and trying to escape. She was either flying or just moving on foot just to the light, and it was collected, it was found near the light, night time, and entomologists were very happy to take photo of these insects. Yes, these are beetles with two horns, one big horn and smaller one. This is a male of Hercules beetle, Hercules Dynastes, genus Dynastes, Dynastes Hercules, and other species have been found as well. Dynastes Neptunus, Dynastes Satanas, by the same group of entomologists who visited this place in Ecuador and in Peru. So today we have recognized that many places on Earth are very valuable for insects. Many places we have a rich biodiversity of insects, especially tropical areas and semi-tropical areas. And even on these light traps, very small insects are coming. In many tropical areas, collecting of insects is under prohibited. There are some permissions for collecting insects only for scientific purpose. Scientists can take investigation if they are coming from museums, from one museum to another museum, receiving permission for the investigation, permission for collecting, for taking some small samples of insects, not collecting everything, but collecting certain groups, because many groups of insects under the protection, and of course in tropical, semi-tropical areas with high biodiversity of insects, especially small group of insects which have not been studied before, we have high biodiversity of species, and new species for science can be found. No, this is not easy task. This is not easy task because each group of insects needs special skills for finding. Different entomologists, we have different techniques, different methods for studying insects, studying in the nature, studying their biology, natural environment, how to collect, how to find insects. This is a special skills. And I'm talking about these skills, methods of collecting, methods of studying on this channel. Dr. Victor Fursov, entomologist, beekeeper, teacher. So, if you have not been on my channel before, you can find my email. And if you have some questions about methods of collecting, you can send your question on my email. If you have some troubles for collecting insects, you do not know how to find certain group of insects, ask me about it. Maybe we can suggest special technique how to find these insects, because some insects are phytophagous, some insects are predatory, some insects entomophagous, and for entomophagous insects, like these tiny insects behind of me, these are calcid wasps, small hymenopterous insects, their size from 0.5 millimeter up to 5 millimeters. It's quite difficult to find them. It's possible to collect them using special scientific traps to take some samples from the natural environment for the study in the museum with permission. Entomologists, scientists, they come into natural environment, they come into forest, mountains, river grasslands, with permissions for scientific investigation. We're not doing it for fun. We're not doing it just for collecting for fun. No, no, no. Entomologists are doing it for entomological purpose, for the study of biodiversity, for the study of biology. If you want to share your knowledge of your study, knowledge of your collecting, write in comments what you have collected in your area. And if you want to receive some piece of advice, write your question on this email. And if you want to be donator, support my channel, stand with Ukraine, you can drop your donation on different links which indicated under this video to join our team of donators and to watch some closed videos on my channel which are open only for sponsors. Yes, this is a small trick. Some interesting videos are closed only for sponsors. And I will show some more interesting videos only for sponsors who support my channel. To close the group of only interested people who are interested in conservation, who are interested not in collecting just for fun, to catch everything and to sell it for trade. No. We are collecting insects for investigation, for the study. We are exchanging by insects for the study, for scientific descriptions, for publishing papers. You want to have some scientific publications together, collaboration, join me on my channel, join me in the team of donators, and ask questions on this email. And finally, we were talking about Costa Rica. Yes, Costa Rica is also the country with the law of protection, law of conservation, where insects under protection, where it's prohibited to collect insects anywhere in Costa Rica. Costa Rica, this is a country like a paradise of insects. It's not possible to collect just with sweeping net without permission, just for fun. No. You can go to jail for a few months, or you can receive some penalty, which can be very costly, for $3,000. Yeah, not a couple dollars, but $3,000. But the same can be if you visit some areas in Australia, if you can visit some places in Kenya, if you visit some places in Indonesia, you can receive quite a big penalty for collecting insects without permission. You need to have scientific permission to come over there to study insects, even to collect a little bit insects for scientific purpose, but only with permission. So that's why we can consider that some tropical areas with the law, with protection, with conservation of insects, these areas, these countries are the best for insects in the world at the present time. But some other countries without any law, without any conservation activities, where everything can be bought, everything can be sold, where corruption is proliferating and flourishing, where you can pay for everything. These are countries are the worst for insects, and these are countries actually the worst for human beings, for population of this country. Not only for population of insects, but for population of animals and for population of plants, like forests as well, and for population of insects. These are worst countries, countries without laws, countries without democracy, countries with some military activities which are trying to destroy other countries, like we have now the situation in Ukraine, the situation with aggression against Ukraine. Thank you for watching. Stand with Ukraine, support entomology, and looking forward to see you on my channel again with some questions, with some comments. If you are from Ukraine, if you are from America, from Australia, from Africa, from Europe, from Southeast Asia, you are welcome to my channel and write comments in your own language or use just translator and write your comments in English. You are welcome to my another videos in English, and see you soon on my channel. To be continued. Good luck for friends of Ukraine. Bye bye. Not too much communication, not too much discussion, but it's really obvious because entomology, the science of insects, is limited by the interest only for certain group of people. Not everyone is interested in insects. Majority of people are afraid of insects. So don't be afraid of insects. Welcome to my channel, and you will not be afraid of insects. When you know more about insects, you know more about spiders, about another arthropods, you will love them. You can be surprised, but you will not be afraid of them. Thank you for coming. Best wishes for entomologists, for biologists, and for people who are with Ukraine. Good luck. See you soon on my channel. Bye-bye. And I am going off from my stream. It will be recorded. And write your comments, ask your questions, and subscribe to my channel on YouTube using your mobile phone or using your computer. When you are subscribed, you have opportunity to receive notifications about new videos. More videos will be coming to your line of your computer and to your telephone as well. And you will not forget about interesting videos which I am uploading weekly on my channel, including some original videos of insects, original discussions, original streams, not only alone, but together with another interesting people. Our discussions are coming soon on this channel. Bye-bye. See you soon on my channel. Subscribe. Don't forget about it.